The Last of Us 2 Season 2 ruined one of the biggest moments from the games. A small change like this can have implications on the rest of the story, taking a moment that changed gaming storytelling forever and replaced it with something bland and generic. And I wanted to take a moment to talk about it. I want to start by saying that I love The Last of Us. Ever since I got the remastered version on my PlayStation 4, I've been heavily into the lore of the series. When The Last of Us 2 was in development, I was constantly watching trailers and behind the scenes stuff. It even got to a point where one of my reaction videos was used as promotional material for the game. When it did finally come out, it was right during the middle of the pandemic. And it was one of those games that made that unfortunate time a bit more comfortable. And The Last of Us 2 is considered one of the most divisive video games of all time. While the first entry is universally loved for its narrative, graphics, and gameplay, the second has a lot more contingency surrounding it. And it's all boiled down to a single moment that changed the story of the series forever. It was a moment that they couldn't remove when adapting the series to HBO, because it's so crucial in pushing the story forward that there's no way to replace it. So everyone who played the games and went into the show knew exactly what was going to happen. And in Episode 2 of Season 2, that moment finally did happen, and another generation of consumers was able to experience that trauma for the very first time. But when I was watching, this version left me with a bag of mixed feelings. Certain choices they made definitely gave me that deflating feeling. So I had to come on here and yap about it. This video will feature spoilers for both the video games and The Last of Us TV series. It's hard to comment about an adaptation without mentioning the source material, and that's exactly what we'll be doing. But before I get into it, let me know in the comment section below. What do you guys think of The Last of Us? Have you played the games, only seen the TV show exclusively? Maybe you've done both like me? And while you're down there, please be sure to hit that like button. To address the massive elephant in the room, we're going to be talking about Joel's death. So when I watch The Last of Us TV show, I'm watching with someone who doesn't know what's going to happen, and I've basically had to keep this death secret the entire time since it's a major reveal. But man, watching this episode, I was half watching the person I was watching with to see how they would react. The entire episode I was just filled with dread because I knew this was going to happen. Heck, when the episode started, there's a moment where Abby's just chilling in the lodge, and we can see the set of golf clubs just chilling in the background. I let out a small sob when I saw this the first time. For the most part, the episode progresses how it does in the game. Joel is out on patrol, only this time being sent out with Dina instead of Tommy. But the big plot points play out exactly how they do in the game. Abby and Co end up finding Joel after Joel gets them out of a tough situation. After finding out that this is the person that they were looking for, they just start attacking. And Abby takes the golf clubs and just starts going to town. Now, this is when things start to turn for what I consider to be the worst. Because this version of Abby is just full of a lot more dialogue this time around, as a lot of her speaking lines are dedicated to exposition for her character. Abby starts revealing her entire plan to Joel, and she just starts talking and talking, to the point where TV Joel even tells her to shut the hell up and just to kill him already. But right before the big moment, we get one final comment from Abby, where it basically sums up her entire motives and backstory into a single message, explaining to Joel that she's here because he killed her father, the doctor from The Last of Us Part 1 that was going to do surgery on Ellie, with the intention of creating a vaccine from Ellie's immunity. But in order to do this, Ellie would have had to die. Joel ended up putting a bullet through his brain before escaping the hospital with Ellie in his arms. So now Abby is out to get revenge for the death of her father. This is information you are given through dialogue in a TV show, but in the video game, this is information you experience by playing through the game. Joel's death is the inciting moment that pushes the rest of the events of the game in motion. Ellie, and now you, the player, are fueled with vengeance to avenge the death of our father figure. We travel across the country, gathering more information on Abby's whereabouts, tearing through tons of enemies along the way. It isn't until we're halfway through the game is when we realize we aren't given the full story. At one point, the gameplay ends up transitioning from Ellie to Abby. 3 days go by where you're playing as Ellie, and then it reaches an exciting climax moment, cuts back to a flashback moment 4 years earlier, and now you're playing as Abby. You are now in the position of the person you're hunting to kill. I remember being so full of rage the first time they let me play as Abby. I would go around running into zombies and just started ending myself at every turn. This is the woman who killed Joel. I cannot believe they would do this to me. But this was just the beginning. As the story continues to unfold, we learn more about Abby's character. The mission where we transition into Abby is a flashback, showing her on a tracking mission with her father, giving her a few moments of them interacting with each other, and showing more of a human side of the both of them. A big moment is when they released the animal trapped inside of the wires, showing these characters that we were designed to hate as people with multitudes around them. Her relationship to her father and how Joel ends up being connected into everything. The whole first half of the story, we're thrown into a pit of rage against this person who just took out our father figure. But you begin to understand and empathize with Abby the more you spend time with her. You might not ever fully agree with her decision to hunt down Joel, but you start to see her perspective and begin to wonder why she's even on this path to begin with. The journey from making Abby look like an irredeemable monster at the the beginning to a character that you're cheering for towards the end is the real secret sauce of The Last of Us 2. In the show, this Abby immediately explains that she's after Joel because he took out her father. The entire mystery of this character is immediately revealed in only the second episode. A plot point that appears halfway through the game shows up super early on. And I think the reasoning for this has everything to do with the fact that this is a TV series. General audiences are keen to going online shortly after consuming something to have the answers delivered to them. If there's something that they don't fully understand, they're going to go right onto Google to find someone with all the answers. I imagine if they didn't lead with Abby's motivations, everyone would have just went online to find out anyway. You can't hide motivations like this until the middle of a season. So this version of Abby literally had to spell out her motivations so people can understand her, which is tough because I can say that this isn't something that video games have to deal with. The magic of video games is that it has the power to put you right into that character's shoes. It has time to give us exposition in much better and organic ways than just saying it through text. It's a challenge trying to adapt that feeling into TV form. Because at the end of the day, you won't be able to capture that same feeling of holding the controller in your hands and doing it yourself. I do think blowing the lead on the game's biggest mystery does deflate the rest of the season, but then again, I'm someone who experienced the games first. I can imagine TV-only watchers are having their own form of grievances right now. Like I said, I did watch with someone who never played the games, and they were absolutely in shambles at the whole thing. And I've been there before, the first time I experienced when it happened. But seeing that reaction on the other side, I was basically like this. I do really like the extra plot lines they added this time around. Like seeing the raid on Jackson was pretty cool since we got some more screen time with Tommy. It was a neat action sequence to see him battling that bloater. Also, Dina getting a bit more time with Joel is nice to build on their relationship. In the games, Dina joins Ellie mainly because she understands what she's going through and doesn't want her to travel alone. But it's cool to see Dina be involved and have an actual horse in this race. Although we did lose the Dina and Ellie scene where they find all the weed, it was a pretty key moment for Ellie to give her a bit of calm before the following storm, so to see that that was missing in this adaptation was a bit unfortunate. They did rework this scene with Jesse as they did find a weed farm inside of this market, but I still think the original worked a little bit better in this instant. Then there's the entire interaction inside of the lodge, like how they ended up knocking out Dina by putting her to sleep, and Joel doesn't make any moves because he doesn't want to put another teenage girl in harm's way. Just like his daughter and just like Ellie, that one really got me. Then there's a moment where Ellie is screaming at Joel to get up, and for a moment you can see Joel move his body through all that pain even just a little bit, trying to muster up the strength to protect the person he cares about the most. Then there's the difference in the actual kill, where instead of beating Joel into a pulp with the golf club, Abby ends up killing him by stabbing him in the neck with it. I appreciate this moment because the audio cuts out right when it happens, to signify the loss of life, the silence that follows the ending. Good on the audio team for that one. Then of course the final aerial shot of inside of the lodge, showing Ellie hovering over Joel's lifeless body inside of this empty room. This is a shot that might haunt me for the rest of my life. I thought it was so good. I do think the lighting composition could have been a bit more appropriate though, because when you look at the scene, it's fairly well lit, and not in a you can see everyone kind of way, but it doesn't offer that feeling of dread that the original lighting does, where even though it's bright outside, the internals are dim and grim, really selling the darkness of the situation, making it feel more cruel. But overall, I'd say I'm locked in. It's going to be interesting to see another era of Abby discourse on the timeline, considering it got so bad the first time that there were so many threats towards the actress of Abby for what her character did in a video game. Like, people are so dumb. Like, how can they not make the difference? It's infuriating. Anyway, but I do still think the show is off to a great start. The small changes are enough to keep things interesting. Like, for example, I also like the shot where Ellie is looking at Joel's lifeless body being pulled by the horse. That right there, heartbreaking. But I do also worry about these changes to Abby. She seems to be a bit more vengeful this time around, enjoying bringing the pain onto Joel, rather than just getting it over with for a sense of closure. It will be interesting to see how they make TV viewers grow to like this character. Also, I know the second game is being broken up into 2 separate seasons, so there's probably going to be a lot more added this time around. Regardless, I'll be there every Sunday on HBO to see what happens next. But of course, let me know what you guys think about these changes. Are they enough to keep you watching, or are you done with the show since Joel is gone? Would love to hear what you guys have to say. But thank you all so much for watching. Please be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and stay awesome.